polares se están extinguiendo. ¿Cuántos quedan?
What is the number of polar bears that are left? Well, somewhere between 20 and 23,000 is what we believe. Almost in the neighborhood of over 75% of that is in North America. So between Alaska and Canada, that is some 75% of the population. The ice has been away from Russia now for a couple decades. That, with the over harvesting of polar bears, the population in Russia, which we do not know what the numbers are, Russia hasn't been done any great research there, but is pretty limited at best. A few thousand bears, we think. Okay.
¿Y todos los osos polares son iguales? ¿O hay diferentes variedades?
Yes, just like it's like saying, is there only one variety of mankind? And the quick answer is yes. But there are 19 distinct populations of polar bears, and they have different, slightly different feeding habitats or different migration patterns. But a polar bear is a polar bear.
¿Por qué no hay osos polares en el Polo Sur?
Well, Mother Nature didn't allow them to go there, okay? They just didn't develop for many reasons. There's no bears in that area. Polar bears came from brown bears, and there isn't any real brown bears in that part of the world that developed. But let's say that we wanted to move polar bears to save them to the South Pole or Antarctica. Well, they would thrive for about a decade, but what they would do is devastate all the penguins and devastate all the other animals, and then there would be nothing left and they would die off. So this is not a good idea at all. The idea is to save their habitat that we know that they can flourish in, and that's the key.
En el Ártico sabemos que hay gas y petróleo. ¿Cómo afecta a los osos polares cuando los países quieren explotar estos recursos?
Well, it's a complex issue. Nothing's ever really easy, okay? And what we know for facts is that there has never been a polar bear killed because of Arctic drilling. So that's a fact, all right? But it's never a problem it's a problem. If we had the Gulf oil spill happen in the Arctic, it would have been quadruple the devastation because the oil would have been under the ice and we would have had no way of cleaning it up. So it would have been terribly devastating. So the habitat, now going over to the habitat that President Obama has put in place, actually U.S. Fish and Wildlife has been the one instrumental in that, is to protect that habitat. The bears are gone. But if we're able to change what it is that we have to do to save these animals, they need a place to go back to. If we devastate that area and build on it or put a lot of things in there that the bears are not going to come back to, then you're never going to have the bears able to come back. So they're trying to protect the land that's there from overdevelopment or the reaping of the resources that are there. So yes, protecting that habitat is critical. Also, you still have the basic problem, and it's really not the oil companies that is the problem. You know, they're simply manufacturing what consumers are demanding. It's a consumer problem, not an oil company problem. All right? It's not. People have to look in the mirror and say, you know, what can I do?
Aló, Mr. Robert. Ay, esto de que tú estás en Alaska y nosotros aquí a veces complican la comunicación. Tú dices que el principal problema no son las petroleras, sino los humanos. ¿Qué les puedes decir para que modifiquen sus hábitos?
You can stop the burning of the forest. Make sure that you plant lots of trees or involved in the planting of trees, right? Saving of energy is also comes in a lot of different forms, and such as just drive fewer miles. You realize that if everyone drove 35 miles less a week, we would no longer have this problem. The other thing is on the heading of recycling. Everyone says, "Oh, I'm going to go to heaven because I recycle every day." Okay. Well, that's BS. Okay. Until you buy recycle, the only thing that you have done is separate your garbage. Okay. So now we got landfills with garbage that has been separated. That doesn't do anything. And the final thing that needs to really be done is a mentoring of people.
¿Por qué cuando pensamos en cambio climático, la primera imagen que nos viene es la de un oso polar?
They are an iconic species that everyone loves for whatever the reason, because they look, cuddly and nice and all that kind of things, and they're everything but. Okay, they'll eat you up in 2 seconds and faster. All right. So it's easy for people to want to save the polar bear, and the art here is to inspire people, inform people with fact-based information, and making sure there's no disinformation in it, okay, which we get from the scientists, and then provide hope through action. So, but they can save so many other animals if we save them.
Sabemos que para Polar Bear International es muy importante educar a los niños. ¿Nos puedes contar alguna anécdota interesante?
Sure. There's a number of them. For instance, kids in Oregon created no idle zones around the schools so that there wasn't CO2 going into the atmosphere. Kids in Kansas City, from the poorest neighborhood that there is, okay, that were scared. They weren't sure if they're going to make it home alive, or if they got home, there would be food on the table. We worked with them to help them put pride into their community by getting one of the big hardware chains to donate the material. And these kids that, that really weren't sure they're going to get food that night were out helping to winterize elderly people's homes in their community, lowering the people's heating bill and allowing them more money to spend on food and medication and so on and so forth. There's one young lady that was in part of our leadership camp that really was quite shy there. But after she got to look in a polar bear's eyes, and the polar bear will stare at you dead in the eyes, and he'll reach into your heart through your eyes and down into your soul and change your life forever. I know that sounds kind of, okay, he's an old geezer, all right, what is, but it's really true. They really do change things, unlike anything else. And she was so inspired, she went back and talked to the Kentucky legislature on why they need to improve the school systems in terms of, to make them more energy efficient, and have been very successful in doing that. We've created polar bear forests. We have been able to do tundra connections, which have been from the tundra, from the scientists are surrounded by polar bears to be able to change things. We've created alliances where we supply the information that is needed. It is growing very, very rapidly. Are we going to do this? You bet we're going to do this. We don't have a choice. And the naysayers will just remain naysayers. I don't pay any attention to them. But the ones that can make a difference are the ones we need to help. We need to provide them with the simple logic of the tools that are necessary to inspire, to inform, and to provide hope that they can do this.
En tu opinión, ¿se puede revertir el daño que le hemos hecho al ambiente? ¿Se pueden recuperar los hielos?
The damage is reversible. This is not an irreversible situation, okay? Absolutely not. The ice will come back at some point. It will probably be hundreds of years before it will. We can hold a species, a small representation of these species in a geographic pocket. So when the ice comes back, that they will be able to increase in their numbers and will be able to go back to the habitats that are prolific for them to be able to enjoy with ice. So yes, we are going to do this, and yes, we can do this, and yes, we need your help. We really need your help.
Cuenta con nosotros.
What I want to tell you is together we can build the greatest generation of conservationists this world has ever seen. And I believe me, we love you to death for just taking the time out to reach out and find out what you can do.
Muchísimas gracias por habernos recibido. ¡Chao!
Humongous bear hugs to you both, and thank you very much.